Und dann bin ich mit ihnen nochmal hingesetzt und haben sie gesagt, schauen Sie, es sind diese 3 Ecken, die kommen im freien Fall in den ersten Sekunden und das Gebäude hat 82 Stahlträger und es ist kein Flugzeug weggeflogen. Wenn es so ist, und es ist eine Arbeitshypothese, dann wurde man nicht nur zum Irakkrieg angelogen mit den Massenvernichtungswaffen, sondern auch zum 11. September.
Building number 7 was going to collapse. That appears to be what has happened now. I don't know exactly how many stories the building is, Dan, but standing at the base of it, watching it burn about an hour ago, it looked to be something on the order of 50, 60 stories, as you said, a very, very large office building.
This is extremely misleading because it only shows the end part of the collapse. The video is actually much longer and shows the penthouse at the top left collapsing before the building does. So what's happening here? To understand, you have to have a little bit of knowledge of the building's structure. From the 7th floor to the 47th floor, World Trade Center 7 was supported by 24 interior columns and 58 perimeter columns. As you can see, the building was not symmetrical. 21 of the interior columns formed a rectangular building core. The remaining 3 interior columns, columns 79, 80 and 81, were particularly large as they had to support for the long floor spans on the east side of the building. Fire-induced thermal expansion of the floor system surrounding column 79 led to a collapse of floor 13. This triggered a cascade of floor failures all the way down to the much stronger 5th floor. This left column 79 unsupported, and therefore it buckled eastward and collapsed. The effects of this can clearly be seen in the video, as the east penthouse was directly above column 79. When it collapsed, so did the penthouse. And again, I have to stress the dishonesty of truthers for not showing this in the majority of their videos. The load of the building was then redistributed onto adjacent columns, which were also having to deal with debris falling on them. This led to column 80 and then 81 buckling as well, which led to all the floors on the east side collapsing, leaving the east side of the building essentially just a hollow shell. Failure of the interior columns then proceeded towards the west because of loss of lateral support and falling debris. And as the exterior columns were still standing, it funneled in all the debris down, accounting for the relatively neat pile of rubble at the end. With now essentially the whole of the core of the building falling, all you're left with is this outer shell of World Trade Center 7, which you can see. And the perimeter columns could no longer support its own weight, so it began to buckle between floors 7 and 14, and the entire building came down as one single unit. To say, like a lot of truthers say, that the buildings fell in around 6 seconds is just wrong. And they know it's wrong. But one thing they do say is, well, World Trade Center 7 fell at freefall. And did it? Yes. It did. Well, part of it did, the west side at least did, for about 2.25 seconds. Now remember, at this point you're looking at what essentially is a hollowed out shell of the building, and like I said before, the building buckled between the 7th and 14th floors. The perimeter columns either bowed outwards or completely broke off, and they provided negligible resistance for these 7 floors, which is why you see this speed until the 14th floor hit the 7th floor and experienced more resistance and the building slowed down. No evidence for explosions were ever found in the wreckage of World Trade Center 7, and again I feel I have to stress that no thermite or nanothermite of any aluminium and iron oxide variation was found, because there was no elemental aluminium found. There's also no sounds of explosions made, which is a trademark of controlled demolition.